do you know we have 6,000 missing and murdered Indigenous women every year in this country?
It's horrible.
And when I heard that, I said, you got to be kidding me. So we held a hearing on it last fall. We need to do something about it, and we're going to. So those are what are driving our budget, plus payment in lieu of taxes, making sure that it's fully funded, because in the West, that's vitally important.
My question for you all, and I say this is an immediate concern, is there a national security concern if entities affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party have direct economic involvement with the President of the United States and Elon Musk? If you're hesitating on that question, let me put it another way. Should we care about national security only when it is bipartisan? Or should we care even more when the call is coming from inside the damn building?
We have got to be moving along with energy now because, to answer your question, why are we calling it an energy emergency? Y'all are hearing AI, or you're hearing about companies moving to Texas. To put an energy plant on the ground can take 3, 4, or more years. We're trying to streamline the permitting process to take care of that, just to give you a little bit of an overview there.
Even with these fake savings, the insatiable demand of these Republicans for additional billionaire tax breaks requires denying opportunities to middle-class families, denying access to a family physician, first by slashing hundreds of millions from Medicaid, for which Trump professes to love and cherish, Medicaid, which pays for half the babies born at Seton Hospital in Austin, half the children that go to the children's hospital there.
Let's start with some facts. Every single Democratic president since Kennedy has left for their Republican successors a better deficit situation than they inherited. And every Republican president since Nixon has left a worse deficit situation than the one they inherited, all without exception. So here we are again, a Republican president following a Democratic president, and Republicans are set to increase the deficit and national debt just like clockwork.
Millions of tax dollars were not just spent here in the United States.
Happy Doge Day!
But they were spent on Harvard.
I should just say that by supporting this budget resolution, he's betraying 125,952 constituents in his district that depend on Medicaid for their essential care.
For every dollar spent on public health interventions, the median ROI is more than 14 to 1. So as you make these cuts and fire these public servants, you're costing a lot more money than you're actually saving. So if you truly believe in making America healthy again, by all means, we're with you. Let's stand together, fund public health, and ensure that we provide life-saving coverage and treatment for everyone who needs it.
This budget slashes $880 billion from Medicaid, putting 286,000 people in my district, including nearly 100,000 children, at risk of losing health care. Madam Chair, cruelty is the point. It also targets food assistance, leaving over 147,000 New Yorkers in my district struggling to afford meals. Cruelty is the point. And why? All this to hand out trillions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 1%. Republicans tried this trick before in 2017. They promised it will raise wages, pay for itself, and boost the economy. It didn't. Instead, it made the rich richer while working people fell further behind. Now they are doubling down, making America sicker, poorer, and hungrier, just to funnel more money to their billionaire donors.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Republican responsibility is economic cruelty. Vote no.
So I've been fighting now for over 4 years to make sure that we fund the meaningful work that the NIH is doing, and I'm going to continue fighting for that. However, speaking to the gentleman from California's amendment, nowhere in this bill do we talk about cutting for funding for the NIH. It just is not there. All we're talking about is top-line funding for various agencies. And once these reconciliation instructions are issued and pass the House and the Senate, then we'll get down to the hard work of looking for improper payments, fraud, waste, abuse, and things that we really need to do to cut the debt that we've been talking about here on the committee. the gentleman's amendment also mentions the work being done by DOGE, and I assume Elon Musk, because his amendment says the National Institutes of Health funds vital research. It should be protected from overreach by unelected billionaires and their harmful, misguided funding cuts. So, I mean, just talking about it, and this is someone who is deeply appreciative of what NIH does. I am also deeply appreciative of the work that DOGE has been doing in going through NIH funding, looking for mistaken fundings and for waste and for abuse. And I am horrified at some of the things that they have found. I mean, horrified. It boggles the mind, some of the things we have been spending taxpayer money on. I've got a little list here. These are all NIH studies or programs. $2.3 million of taxpayer money spent on a program for injecting beagles with cocaine. $611,000 in a study entitled Evaluating Microaggressions Among Latinx Individuals with Obesity. $87,000 to study the role of the estrus cycle on oxycodone cravings in female rats. $19 million to study why lesbian women of color prefer menthol cigarettes. Here's my personal favorite. $710,000 to study the correlation between binge drinking on Super Bowl Sunday and the birth of babies 9 months later.
The president and Elon Musk are cutting programs left and right. And I don't think people fully appreciate the impact that it's going to have on people who rely on those services. And in this case, eliminating 50% of the personnel at HUD, I don't think they understand the impact that that will have, not only on the people behind me and the people who are deeply advocating on behalf of public housing, but for generations to come.
But we had a record-breaking 120,000 people attend Walktober events this year. So it's a real economic driver because we really encourage people to come and do one of these events and then visit a restaurant or shop local, you know, and get out and really explore all the other amenities in the Heritage Corridor. So we see a lot of the work that we do as regional economic development.
Then, just last week, on February 20th, the Washington Post stated that the administration is preparing to, quote, dissolve the leadership of the USPS and absorb the independent mail agency into his administration. As you know, the Commerce Department, potentially throwing trillions of dollars of e-commerce transactions into turmoil. These reports are beyond troubling, and I respectfully request that you have a hearing again on the USPS. You had a very good hearing the other day where we were able to grill Mr. DeJoy, and I learned a lot. I think a lot of our members on both sides learned a lot. I think we need to have a hearing on this particular issue. As you know, the USPS is the foundation of our $1.92 trillion mailing industry, led courageously by numerous veterans, letter carriers who deliver 44% of the world's mail. More importantly, no private sector entity provides universal service across the nation.
President Trump has empowered an unvetted billionaire, and let's say it, an unvetted billionaire with massive conflicts of interest, hundreds of millions of dollars of government contracts he receives.
There will be a legal debate over it at that time, but there will be a legal discussion, and this is a separation of powers issue. It's an important one. I actually voted against repurposing money for the wall, for building the wall last time, because I thought it was congressional perspective. So I share some of the concerns, but I think it's unfair to leap to sort of conclusions of this is illegal or this is, you know, being done, and it's democracy's in turmoil and the world's going to end.